Hi, this is Zach with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Thursday, the 11th of August. Starting off with the FTSE 100, which is dithering at either side of the 50-day moving average, the blue line there, that's around 74.80, and we're looking for an end-of-day close above that so that we can get back up to the top of that falling trend channel from back in February, around 76.60. That's the big level to break, because obviously that line there has been the barrier for much of the year to date. We can get through that. Maybe we'll see something decent. On the downside, don't really want to see the market back below 7,400, which was resistance on the way up. Otherwise, there's a chance, probably a relatively small chance now, of a retest of the sub 72.50 area. RSI just on the right side of neutral 50s at 52, which is helpful. Moving on to the DAX, and here we can see that the DAX is doing what the FTSE can't currently do, which is break through the 50-day moving average, 15,900 above that, but looking for pretty direct move up to retesting the late July peak through 16,500. Best case scenario is that we head up towards the top of that rising trend channel from December as high as 17,000 by the end of next month. Downside hopefully limited by 15,600, the floor of that channel from December. Onto the Dow, which has had many days, up days in the recent past, which is obviously very nice. Rising 50-day line, we broke through that on Tuesday and whole day yesterday above it for Wednesday. Looking for a retest of the best levels at the turn of the month through 35,500 over the next 2 to 4 weeks. RSI at 53, so that's pushed through the neutral 50 level as well. The best we can see on the upside would be a move to the top of that rising trend channel from March up towards 36,200 by the end of next month. The worst on the downside, the 200-day line, 33,700, but ideally we stay within that channel. On to Bitcoin, which finally bounced after its very oversold condition, but still dithering either side of the 200-day line. That's rising, so we need to see an end-of-day close through 27,500 to give us a chance of retesting the 30,000 area, which is where we were at the beginning of the month. On the downside, hopefully limited to 26,000, which is that January support line and the floor of that rising trend channel from the beginning of the year. Moving along to the stocks, and stock which doesn't get much airtime here or anywhere else, but it looks like Crossword cybersecurity's time may finally have come. We say that on the basis of our favorite setup, which is the bear trap gap reversal, so the gap higher through the 50-day line, and we've got bullish divergence there as well. Fallen out of that, or broken out of that falling wedge. That was around the 6.5 pence level, above 6.5, looking for 11 pence. As soon as the end of next month. If you're cautious, you wait for an end-of-day close through August resistance to date at 7.5 pence, just to make sure we are on our way. Block Energy is next, and here also some signs of recovery, or possible rising trend channel base. I suppose we're going to range between 1 and 2 pence for much of the last year, but we've broken that line of resistance from May. We've had a nice sideways shuffle above a rising 50-day moving average, so this time it looks like above the 1.3 pence level of the May line, looking at 2 pence, maybe as soon as the end of next month. But as you can see from the chart there, in the past, we've had sellers coming in after just a day or two of strength. So we have to watch and see whether the sellers finally gone away. GSTechnologies is a stock I covered earlier in the week, and it's delivered the goods, just broke through that 0.8 pence zone, and broke through that triangle there from the end of June at 0.85, above 0.85, looking for 1.3 as soon as the end of next month, and a nice uptrend line there in the RSI window as well. Upside valid while we hold above that 0.8 pence area. On to Geiger counter, which also looks like it's emerging from a recent consolidation. Nice consolidation there, like bull flag either side of the 200-day moving average, breaking 42. We could be up to 52 by the end of next month, and hopefully a bit more, given how long the shares have been consolidating at the lower levels. Harland Wolf is next, and it has just released an RNS, and here we were looking for the shares to hit the top of that rising trend channel from April at I suppose 19 pence, and we hit that right on the nose, which I'm quite proud of. The view now is that while we're above recent resistance at 15.5 pence, we're looking not only for a retest of 19 pence, but actually we could upgrade our upside up to as high as 26 pence by the end of next month if we can get an end of day close above 19 pence and remain obviously above that 15 pence, 16 pence area. On to i3 Energy, which has been on the back foot for quite some time. It looks like that time is now over. We were looking for the shares to bounce off last year's support, which is what they've done after a double test. And view now is that we're heading towards 15 pence, which is the top of that triangle from the end of June, and then by the end of next month, hopefully up towards 18 pence, which is the 200-day moving average. We have been above that since the end of last year. So above 15, looking for 18 on i3. And ideally, we stay above the 50-day line currently at 13.25. To add to the excitement, there is also bullish divergence, so lower lows therefore, slightly lower lows therefore for the end of August, but bullish divergence and an uptrend line in the RSI window, so hopefully on our way there. Commented on Kodal in the RNS hot list today, and that seems to have worked along with obviously their RNS. Here we've got an initial target here at 0.53, but we'd like to break that 50-day moving average there and that line of resistance from April. If we can do that, probably looking towards the 0.7 pence area, as that was the last peak back in July. And I suppose there's a line to be drawn, something in a way like that, which is a falling trend channel. So towards 0.7 on a break of 0.53 for Kodal, and upside value while we hold above recent or the initial June support there, that June support there at 0.44. On to Mosman, which has not been exactly the stock of the year in terms of the price action, but just the first glimmers of hope here. We've broken a line of resistance there from back in May. Initial target, the 50-day moving average around 0.04. Best case would be up to 0.06 by the end of next month, although I admit that would be asking quite a lot, and that the recent trajectory still looks pretty negative. Another situation which has been quite frustrating, but might finally, after months of attempts to recover, is Prospex Energy. Here we've got a break of that resistance line there from July. We've got a bullish divergence line, so that means that above the 5.5 pence area, we're finally looking for 10 pence, hopefully over the next 4 to 6 weeks. If you're cautious, and probably rightly so, you'd wait for a proper clearance of the 50-day line. That's currently at 6.5 pence, as that's been the block really since the shares fell back in February. So need to see maybe a higher low above that 50-day line to prove that this is finally it in terms of a turnaround. But we do have that bullish divergence, so that in this case, which is what we haven't actually had that since the shares came off their highs near 20 pence. Moving on to Pensana, which is looking intriguing at the moment. Just the first signs of a lasting turnaround here. We've got an inverted head and shoulders type pattern, a sort of lopsided one. Neckline there at around 25 pence. End of day close above 25, be up to 35 pence at the top of that rising trend channel base from back in May. All the while, we'd like to see the shares above the 50-day line around 22.5. Stock which really came up with the goods on the technical front even before the latest announcement has been Pantheon. So charting can work even in the more difficult situations. We were suspecting that there was a turnaround coming with the shuffle along the 50-day moving average, which was rising ahead of the news that we had on the 20th. The view now is that our target there at 23 should be hit hopefully over the next week or two, and then we're probably looking for a move back towards previous resistance on the way down at 26 pence. So say 23 and then 26 there for Pantheon, while we remain above the June resistance on the way down at 18 pence. On to a stock which is probably not talked about very much, but has a decent price action on it. At least it's moving. RC 365 rather, and we've broken a line of resistance there after falling after that double top that we had in July. Above 80 pence, looking for the 50-day moving average around 101 over the next couple of weeks, and ideally we see the shares remain above the mid-70s ahead of that. Serabi is the next situation, and here we've had effectively a bear trap island reversal. Bullish divergence there as well, but really want to see the shares break 25 pence. If we can break that, then it could be up to 30 pence by the end of next month. But the gap through the 50-day line, a nice development. On to the last three, and Spectral MD is next. Here we've got a rising trend channel from back in April. Good sideways action above a rising 50-day moving average, so that tends to be a good recovery signal, and a break of 55 should take us up to as high as 70 pence or even more by the end of next month. 50 and 200-day lines both rising in parallel, which is another good thing, but it is that sideways shuffle above a rising 50-day line which is working there. On to Saietta, and here we got this rising trend channel off the floor back in March. Near term, we've got a rising trend channel from June, and the shares having held the gap there. We had a gap higher back in July. The top of the gap has been support, so that's a pretty strong signal, and normally means that we're going to have a new leg to the upside, at least up to 55 in this situation, while we remain above 40 pence is the view at the moment. Finishing off with Valereum, which has risen 35% on no news, so one would assume that there will be news coming up quite soon. Nice turnaround, or a very sharp turnaround from the lows towards 2.8 pence. Looking for an end-of-day close through the May resistance line and the 50-day moving average at 4.1 pence. If we can get that, then we're looking at a potential move to 6 pence by the end of next month. But key here now is breaking that 4.1 pence level. That's it from me today. More updates tomorrow.